Hi friends, my name is Seth Gruber and I'm on staff with a pro-life organization called Life Training Institute. And we exist to provide equipping and training for pro-life advocates and Christians so that they can make a gracious and thoughtful defense of their pro-life beliefs in the public square, for the express purpose of creating more ambassadors for unborn children in our culture, who can help reverse the culture of death in which no unborn child is ultimately protected in the womb, and promote a culture of life in which every human being, whether born or unborn, is protected and valued by law and by individuals like you and I. And this is my series of training videos called Pro-Life Thinking Thursdays, where each week I respond to an objection to the pro-life view, an argument for abortion, and give the pro-life response. And this is episode 4, and I want to address one of the hard cases that many pro-lifers often struggle to respond well to. And that argument from the abortion choice community goes like this: that women who are raped should not be forced to carry that child to term, should not be forced to have that child, because they did not consent to sex. They were taken advantage of, and now they're left with a child that they did not choose, and so they should have the option to choose abortion. Now, before we even begin to formulate our pro-life response, we need to point out that the Guttmacher Institute, which is Planned Parenthood's statistical research branch, reports that abortions being performed each year from cases of rape account for less than 1% of the annual abortion rate. So, that means that when people use rape to argue for abortion, they're appealing to an exception to argue for the norm. And we can expose this by simply asking the question, would you be willing to join us in fighting against the 99% of all other abortions that aren't due to cases of rape? And of course, the answer from the pro-choice community is always no. So they're simply using rare cases to argue for all cases, and that's intellectually dishonest. But as pro-life advocates who believe that every human life is equally valuable, we need to also grant that same value to the woman, to the mother who has been brutally mistreated and taken advantage of by this man, by these men who choose to use their bodies to rape women. That is a wrong, both morally and legally, and it's illegal because it's immoral. So we can acknowledge that, but also acknowledge the value of the unborn child, because the unborn child shouldn't have to suffer for the crimes of the father. We can think of 3 different parties involved in a pregnancy that arises from rape: the woman or the mother, the rapist, and now the unborn child. In our country, the woman who has been raped is not allowed to murder the man who raped her. In other countries, they kill the woman who was raped and call it honor killings. That's barbaric because she's an innocent victim. So if we don't give the death penalty to the rapist who is guilty or to the mother who is innocent, why would we give the death penalty to the unborn child who is just as innocent as his or her mother? Rape is a horrific act of injustice, but so is abortion. Now, many people will say that the woman shouldn't be forced to bear this child from rape, because what if that child looks like the father, looks like the rapist, and that mother has to be reminded of what she went through every day? But this simply raises the question of how should we treat people that remind us of painful events? What if instead the mother had the child that was conceived in rape, and then as the child became a toddler, she began to realize that that toddler did indeed look like the rapist? Could she kill her toddler for the same reasons? Absolutely no. And so this question, this argument for abortion from rape, assumes that the unborn is not human, because we wouldn't accept that rationalization to kill toddlers. At the end of the day, if the pro-life case is true and sound, then the unwanted child who was conceived in rape is just as valuable as the wanted child conceived by 2 loving parents. And abortion is not the answer to rape, because abortion does not unrape a woman. It kills an innocent human being who is just as valuable and just as innocent as his or her mother. Thank you for joining this week, and I look forward to being with you next week for Pro-Life Thinking Thursdays.